Today's tale is The Witch of Endor. The Witch of Endor can be found in 1 Samuel 28. The story starts with the Philistines and their army set up in camp preparing to attack Israel. So the Israelites set up another camp close by. The Philistines were a people who had a large area, part of which was Gaza. Israel had a long history of conflict with them, and Israel is still in conflict with the people of Gaza to this day. The Philistines were the army with whom Samson killed 1,000 men with a jawbone of a donkey. They are also the army that sent Goliath against Israel when David killed him with a slingshot. The Philistine and Israeli rivalry is basically like Tom and Jerry, or UT and A&M, or Dracula and Sunlight. They do not get along. So anyway, King Saul of the Israelites gets nervous, and he starts reaching out to God for guidance. He inquired of the Lord, but the Lord did not answer him by dreams or casting lots or even by the prophets. So Saul thinks, I need to speak to the prophet Samuel. Only Samuel is dead. So Saul says to his servants, find me a woman who can communicate with ghosts. I'll then go to her and ask by using her power. There is such a medium in Endor, his servants replied. So Saul and his attendants get in the Millennium Falcon and fly to Endor. Wait, that doesn't seem right. My mistake. It's wrong Endor. Wrong Endor. Saul and his attendants go to Endor. This Endor. Saul disguises himself. Then he and 2 men set out, going to the woman at nighttime. Please call up a ghost for me. Bring me the one I specify, Saul said. Listen, the woman says to him. You know what Saul has done, how he has banned all mediums and diviners from the land. What are you doing, trying to get me killed? Saul swore to her by the Lord, as surely as the Lord lives, you will not be punished for this. Then the woman asked, whom shall I bring up for you? Bring up Samuel, he said. The woman in this story is often called the Witch of Endor, but the Hebrew text describes her as a Balat Ov, which could be literally translated as controller of the spirit. So she does what she is asked. When the woman saw Samuel, she cried out at the top of her voice and said to Saul, why have you deceived me? You are Saul. The king said to her, don't be afraid. What do you see? The woman said, I see a ghostly figure coming up out of the earth. What does he look like? Asked Saul. An old man wearing a robe is coming up, she said. Then Saul knew it was Samuel, and he bowed down and prostrated himself with his face to the ground. Samuel said to Saul, why have you disturbed me by bringing me up? I am in great distress, Saul said. The Philistines are fighting against me, and God has departed from me. He no longer answers me either by prophets or dreams. So I have called on you to tell me what to do. And Samuel said, why do you consult me, now that the Lord has departed from you and become your enemy? The Lord has done what he predicted through me. The Lord has torn the kingdom out of your hands and given it to one of your neighbors, to David. Because you did not obey the Lord or carry out his fierce wrath against the Amalekites, the Lord has done this to you today. The Lord will deliver both you and Israel into the hands of the Philistines, and tomorrow you and your sons will be with me. The Lord will also give the army of Israel into the hands of the Philistines. Immediately Saul fell full length on the ground, filled with fear because of Samuel's words. His strength was gone, for he had eaten nothing all that day and that night. When the woman came to Saul and saw that he was greatly shaken, she said, look, your servant has obeyed you. I took my life in my hands and did what you told me to do. Now please, let your servant give you some food, so you may eat and have the strength to go on your way. He refused and said, I will not eat. But his men joined the woman in urging him, and he listened to them. He got up from the ground and sat on the couch. So the woman opened her fridge, took out some hot pockets, threw them in the microwave. I'm kidding, of course. Hot Pockets hadn't been invented yet. But I'm sure she took some bread and dried meat and fed Saul with it. No, she didn't do that either. The Bible says the woman had a fattened calf at the house, which she butchered at once. She took some flour, kneaded it, and made fresh bread without yeast. Then she set it before Saul and his men, and they ate. That same night, they got up and left. Now, I'm one of those Christians who takes the Bible literally. But if there's anything in this story I have trouble accepting, it's the fact that she butchered a cow, cooked it, and baked fresh bread all in time for them to leave the same day. I have trouble baking a frozen pizza in time to go to bed at night. Think about how irritated people get just waiting in a drive-thru. She had to use her witch powers here, too. I'm just saying. Anyway, that ends the story. Except that the next day, everything Samuel said comes true. Saul dies, clearing the way for David to become king of Israel. There is some debate about what happened here among the Christian community. Some say it was a trick, that the witch was like a ventriloquist, but I say that's absurd. The Bible condemns necromancy or spirit conjuring at least 14 times. Why would the Bible find something that wasn't real and forbid it? There are no prohibitions against card tricks. There's no law against eating vegan pork. You know why? Because vegan pork isn't real. That's why.